I have a problem. It's not a bad problem. It's just one of those hard first world problems. I've got two bikes that I really like, and I'm trying to decide which of the two I keep. It's kind of a Sophie's choice, if you will, only harder. I have a Specialized Aethos and a Tarmac SL8. So I'm here to ride them back to back on the same roads where I spend a significant amount of my time, and on a ride that represents a wide variety of the terrain that I ride on my road bike. I won't be riding any gravel today, although I've done plenty of that on both of those bikes, but I'm gonna climb, descend, go over rough pavement. This ride is just under a 30-mile round trip from my house. So I'm gonna do that on the Tarmac, and then I'm gonna do that on my Aethos and see which one I prefer. I'm gonna ride the same wheel set to make the comparison more fair. So I'm just gonna swap wheel sets when I swap bikes. I'm gonna ride the CLX 32s, riding these wheels because they've got tubeless 32 mil wide tires, and I can air down and be a little safer. I'm starting on the Tarmac because it's what I've ridden the last several thousand miles on. I haven't had my Aethos frame set for a while. So yes, I've ridden thousands and thousands of miles on an Aethos, but I haven't done it since I've had my Tarmac. I built it up. I didn't even test ride it on my street at home. It's gonna be a fresh, exciting new experience as soon as I jump back on that thing. On flat ground, this bike feels as you would expect it to. It feels fast. It's great, and it feels nice to be on. Over crap pavement, it definitely feels better than any one of my previous race bikes. And then there's climbing, and it does exactly what you would expect it to do as a 15-pound stiff race bike that has great power transfer. Climbs great. Okay, I'm not gonna keep riding on this.
That's as far as I can go.
Descending on this thing feels great. It feels like a race bike. It's a bit twitchy, but it's predictable. It goes where you point it. I like it. Now I'm headed back home to swap bikes and jump on the Aethos. So we'll see how the Aethos compares. Now I'm on my Aethos. And it feels good to be back. A lot of similarities between the two bikes. Yeah, I guess this one's a little bit slower on the flats. Like, does it take away from any of the enjoyment riding on those roads? No, it doesn't. So, losing daylight, camera died. So I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow and tell you the rest. I'm so close to the top, which is so irritating, but it's really cold and it's getting dark. Apparently I didn't time it out properly. We'll be back and finish later.
It's tomorrow, Cass. Tomorrow.
Okay, so it's not tomorrow because it snowed that tomorrow and I skied that day. But we're back out here after a little work trip. It's 15 degrees warmer, so I'll take that. Back out on the Aethos. So let's go back a few years to when I got my initial Aethos. Honestly, I got it as a filler bike to hold me over for a little bit, and then I fell in love. I made a video a while back about my thoughts on the Aethos. In that, I shared about how, it felt good riding around, but it felt amazing going down. And that adds a really important element to how I feel about both of these bikes. So I put tens of thousands of miles on my Aethos, liked it a lot, obviously. And after a couple years, I was ready for a change just because I wanted something new. So I snagged an SL8. I also made a video about that one and my thoughts about that more recently. So I've been then riding my Tarmac, which I really, really like. And I still have, obviously. I just realized that there were things that I missed from riding my Aethos. And while my Tarmac felt really fast on flat land, I mean, it feels fast everywhere, honestly, but it was missing something. A little bit of its soul somehow. Something that the Aethos has somehow. As I'm refamiliarizing myself with the Aethos over flat land, it actually still feels fantastic. It's a great bike to ride. It doesn't feel slow. I think the advantage that you get on the Tarmac is at higher than average normal riding speeds. So take that into consideration. Over rough roads, this bike feels a level above the Tarmac. And I've seen a lot of comments out there about how the Tarmac is as comfortable or more comfortable because it's got the dropped stays. From my experience, riding thousands of miles on each of the bikes, the Aethos is still more comfortable, slightly more comfortable. That's not scientific. It's not a landslide, but that's my opinion. Then it comes to the uphill and climbing, I hardly notice any difference whatsoever. This bike is a little bit lighter, and it's so marginally lighter, I can't tell a difference between the two to give either one an edge over the other. They both have excellent power transfer. They're both light. Call them both climbing bikes. And then there's descending. That's where the Aethos has a clear advantage. Something about this bike, it just descends like it's on rails. It feels like it has a soul. It's so fun that it outshines the Tarmac, which is a really good descending bike. The bike descends very well. It's fun. It's gonna always do what you want it to do. But this one is just noticeable in the way it descends and goes downhill and goes through corners. It's so fun. The Aethos is the best descending bike that I've ever ridden. And it leaves a longer lasting impression than the Tarmac does. That just takes the enjoyment level up a notch. And that longer lasting impression, I think, is what made me miss the Aethos when I was riding the Tarmac. Now, granted, this is coming from somebody who has this in their backyard. I am on most of my rides descending, not always, these fun twisty canyons, but a significant portion of my rides include fun twisty descents. And I realize that's not the case for everybody. So who is each bike for? If I'm racing competitively on the road and I want a competitive edge, I'm choosing the Tarmac. And I'm perfectly happy with that choice because it's a fantastic bike. However, if I am not racing and I'm even semi-regularly climbing with twisty descents, I'm choosing the Aethos hands down because it's more fun. Like I said, it's got that soul that just makes it more fun, makes me get home at the end of the ride thinking, man, that was a fun bike. And the extra fun that I have on those descents is worth the 8 seconds that I lose out on from having the Tarmac. And not that I can't have a lot of fun on the Tarmac going down twisty descents, but the Aethos makes my smile just that much bigger. And no, this is not an Aethos ad. I bought this bike with my own money and not from Specialized. Take that for what it's worth. I just really love this bike. I have a lot of fun riding this bike on this kind of terrain. On any kind of terrain, but it shines here. So if you want maybe a little bit more comfort, if you want fun on the twisty descents, get this one. Take that for what it's worth. That's my opinion. I hope it helps some of you. Please subscribe. Check out my other videos. Bye.